Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel. Just made it back from Axpona 2022. First of all, great show, meeting many of you guys there. It was every bit as good as the Florida Audio Show, if not better. In fact, I know it was great because on the plane ride back, I was just lamenting all the things I didn't get a chance to do. I wanted to go in town to Chicago, see that, take time to do that. The 3MA guys were in there, as well as some of my friends. Didn't even get to do any of that. There were other rooms that I didn't get to spend time in that I really wanted to. In fact, products I own, so like SVS subs, but I already know SVS. I can pretty much categorically recommend them, whatever tier budget group you're in. Their stuff is always top of the list in terms of what I would consider high value, high performance, especially their sealed box subs. So I'm sure they were debuting some new stuff. I wish I would have got a chance to see it, but I did try to go in that room, but it was just too crowded. Same thing with like ELAC. There were a lot of rooms that were too crowded. I did make an effort. And then there were some that I just didn't get a chance to go to because I hope you guys enjoy the format of how I upload stuff. But when you add up the time that I have to spend outside of each room uploading, writing description, it seems like it's only going to be a little bit of time. It ends up being a lot of time that slows me down and being able to get to all the different rooms. But I'm happy to do it. It's a fun thing to, again, connect with you guys, get your comments. And really all I need is thank yous are fine by me if you enjoy it. That feedback is more than anything I need. But if you did want to join or support the channel in a financial capacity, I do have that membership section. And you do get access to other videos where I'm a little less politically correct and kind of show you behind the scenes stuff as well. And then I have that text group, private text group for members, where also some of the 3MA guys in, other audiophiles that you've seen in my videos, and you can interact on a daily basis texting there. I think a lot of people enjoy that as well. So that option is available. But again, great show. Very few downsides at all. I'm going to have video. The way I'm going to do this is do this preview video because I'm going to do a more comprehensive wrap up and review. I know everybody's going to rush to get out there best of show, get the SEO clickbait titles out there and do a very condensed summary of what they saw. But I don't think that's actually fair to a lot of these manufacturers. Again, some of these people weren't even there the entire time or saw every room. So calling something the best, I understand how you have to jimmy rig Google, and no hate on people that are doing that, because I don't like Google either, the way they screw over YouTubers. But it's really unfair to you guys, the viewer, to say best if they didn't really go into all the rooms. And quite frankly, and it brings up a macro point that's even more important. Unless you know that song that they're playing at the time, and unless you know that room, and unless you were in the ideal sweet spot, you're really in no position to say that's the best or not the best. There are so many variables that you can't control that you can just say in a few minutes there that this is the best. So that's an unfair categorization. I know people are going to put that in the title, and I'll probably figure out my own way to jimmy rig Google. So no hate on that, but delivering that to you guys, you got to be cognizant of why some of that is more fluff than substance. So what I want to do with because I don't do this channel for money, I have the fortune not to have to do that. So what I would like to do with my channel and the review is go into more depth. I'll do a bunch of parts to this wrap up. And what I'll do is go into individual rooms, maybe pop up an excerpt from the video that I uploaded, and then give my commentary. Because in some rooms you were able to hear my commentary. I would talk to the room people during the show and in the video. In some cases I was keeping my impression to myself, or they were too busy to talk to. So I will give my impressions and give you a feel for all the variables at play, my experience, my tastes, so that you get a better perspective when I say this is my favorite room, why. And not to leave you hanging on this video with nothing other than this preview, I will give you what my coolest thing of the show is, and there's a lot of cool stuff. So I'm going to have probably a whole video dedicated to cool stuff, but I'm going to give you in a second my coolest thing that came out of the show. Just like in the last show, I wanted to follow up. I know headphone stuff isn't really resonating with a lot of you guys. But the best thing I heard at the Florida Auto Show by far was the Stax SR9000 headphones and the Blue Hawaii amp. Now, update to that. I placed an order for the Stax. Actually, 3MA started carrying Stax, and this is the only model they could get right now. I was able to AB this to the Stax SR9000 in the Woo Audio Room. Oh, and by the way, the guy that runs the Woo Audio Room, he uses the SR9000 as his reference, and that was comforting for me. He obviously has much more experience with a wide variety of headphones, so it made me feel a little bit justified in my more primitive experience with headphones that what I heard was kind of a unicorn. But I was also able with his amp to compare this to the SR9000. And yeah, this was good, but that SR9000, it's better. And actually, some of my friends, we were A-Bing it. So for those that are headphone fans, I'm still thumbs up on that. Now, the Blue Hawaii we're having trouble contacting them and getting any orders out of them. So I was actually looking, maybe I have to pivot from that. The Woo sounded good. I can't say I preferred it to the Blue Hawaii, but I did also hear the SR9000s with the LTA audio amp. And that sounded pretty darn good too. So those three options are going to be one of my choices. Right now, it all depends. The head amp guys just seem to not want to respond to orders or a dealer wanting to carry them. And so I'm not a big fan of companies not taking care of customers. I'm not one of those ones that buy, like if you heard some of the conversations in the show, well, they were talking about a watch brand. This is off topic of audio, but a watch brand that treats its customers like crap because they can, and it's cool to own something that, is so elite. I'm not a big fan of being in that cult. You better treat me right. If you're going to make me money because it's going to appreciate it because of your attitude, okay, maybe I'll do that. And I understand why people would from a monetary aspect, but it just doesn't make me feel good to support companies that don't support you or treat you like crap as being cool, the cool thing. So in any case, I'll let you know on that as we go. But let me go ahead and give you another update. Just have to leave you hanging. This is just more of a preview video of what's coming right now. But if I came out of this show and said, hey, what am I going to spend my money on other than that Stax? I'm still doing that. But what would I buy as something to represent this show? Because what's standing out the most? And a lot of people say Ari Sarat because I spent so much time there because I was so befuddled by the speaker. And I'll have a lot of commentary on that. And certainly that's going to be in the cool video. But if there was one thing I would do from this show and what resonates with me, all these other rooms I've heard a million times before and whatnot, a lot of the DSP stuff is good. I'm going to do a video just on DSP stuff because that was very encouraging and all the things there. But here's what I would do if I were you guys. Take roughly $1,300, or let's just say $1,500. Don't buy a cable with that money. Don't buy a tweak. Don't buy, whatever would be in a budget normally for an audiophile for $1,500. Go get those Polk speakers I featured and get that Tiger Fox enclosure for $500 just for fun, and use those Polk speakers are 10 times better than those JBLs, $85 JBLs, which aren't that great. I mean, in the booth was cool, definitely worked, and was just a fun thing to do, great for gaming rigs. And if you want to impress your friends that aren't audiophiles, I would argue they'd be more impressed with that Polk in that enclosure, Tiger Fox enclosure, than they would most of the systems that they saw there, and the sound that they get there, because it's so cool, it's so new, it's so refreshing. It's not audiophile level per se, but really at the end of the day, if it's making you sit in that chair and have fun and listen to music more and experience music you like in a different way. I mean, I could swear that speaker's right in front of me, and I could swear people were yelling in my ear some of the special effects or stuff. And it was done in a less phasey way and gimmicky way than other things I've seen. There was a good Jansen omnidirectional, and that guy was, I think, a former rocket scientist, which was cool, but that's more of a phasey way of doing it. The Polk L800s, now that's a speaker that wasn't at the show, but if you ever get a chance to audition a Polk L800, That to me is definitely ear opening. For you won't hear any speaker that does what that can do. And you can turn it off and it's a great speaker on its own. So it's really encouraging to see a lot of new innovative designs, a lot of things that I think may have stand the test of time. Some other ones I'm still a little on the fence that I saw whether they're going to stand the test of time. So I will have a disappointing or questionable or things that I'm not so sure about video. But what I plan to do is have maybe 3 or 4 rooms featured per video, pop up some excerpts, give you my feedback. And what the other thing I want to do is invite, because I made some connections with many of the manufacturers, and many of them are following Who Says What About Them at the show. I want to make it more interactive for them too. In a lot of these rooms, you can't spend the time to ask exact, what is the efficiency of the speaker? What is the amplification? What is this? All these specs and even prices and specific model numbers. It's just, I would never be able to cover all the rooms doing that for every room. So what I want to do is invite, if any manufacturer is watching my videos and review, and because I'm tiering them in small buckets, feel free to comment of anything I left out. Feel free to, if you want me to do a Zoom interview where you could talk more about your experiences. It's good to hear, like I tried to feature some of the behind the scenes things that they had to deal with, like missing an entire pallet of all your gear. I mean, and then still being able to put on a great room. You got to give these manufacturers a lot of credit, and you don't want to just arbitrarily say, walk in, walk out and say garbage. You got to understand what went into what they did. And if you're still impressed despite all these challenges, what is that going to tell you about when you get their top of the line stuff, or they have everything in order and you get it in your room perfectly? So there's a lot that goes on behind the show that I want to bring attention to versus just the condensed best of videos that you're going to see a lot of. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. It's more conducive to what I like to do on my channel. So if you haven't signed up, subscribed already, please do, and stay tuned because I'll be churning these out very soon.